Hello everyone and a warm welcome to the Emerson booth here at Hannover Messe 2024. And today we want to discuss how automation advancements can help manufacturers to tackle the challenges that global supply chains are still facing in 2024. And it's clear that supply chains worldwide are still experiencing what you could call the lingering effects of the 2020 pandemic, when demand surges for certain products and slumps for others created unprecedented backlogs and shortages. And while recovery has happened in many chains, macro events such as extreme weather, geopolitical events, and even freak accidents with critical infrastructure have impacted multiple industries time and time again. Well, just last year, in fact, in 2023, Emerson surveyed 1,100 of its customers, and almost 40% reported that they were still dealing with supply chain shortages. So today what we'd like to do is get a leadership perspective on how Emerson can support its customers in tightening up those gaps and regaining their competitive advantage. And to that end, I am very pleased to welcome Sergio Caligara. He's Emerson's Vice President of Sales Europe. Welcome to the booth here today. And on my right is Stéphanie de Boissieu, Vice President and General Manager of Factory Automation.
Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have both of you here, and thanks for taking the time to speak to us today. Now, you know, Stéphanie, the last few years really have been exceptional. We spoke about this earlier in terms of challenges to supply chains on a truly global scale, and I've referred to sort of some of the issues that have led to really major supply chain chaos all over the world. If we look specifically at the factory automation sector, how would you say that these issues have affected manufacturing itself and manufacturers?
Well, so most manufacturers would have been impacted by the supply chain disruptions that you've just described earlier. You know, it has been difficult for them to source critical components for their production. And this can lead to disruption in the production planning, you know, increased lead time, service level has also been impacted sometimes, and all of this leads to unhappy customers at the end.
Yeah.
Now it's not the only consequence, so you know, if you look at cost, for example, manufacturers were competing between each other to actually get, you know, to source those critical and scarce resources, right? So they've seen the cost of those resources increase.
Increase massively.
And you know, they translated it to customer price increase eventually. So at the end, a supply chain disruption can impact the pricing across the manufacturing supply chain.
Thanks very much for that. Sergio, maybe you've got something to add.
Yeah, I comment on that. We have seen many customers obliged to increase their inventory level, accumulating parts to be able to meet the increasing demand or simply to have a more flexible production flow. All of that is translating into cost increase and very, very bad impact in terms of trade working capital, and a lot of discussion around that we have and we had with our customer. Still ongoing, by the way.
Yeah. A lot of difficulties with cost. Now, Emerson is a global manufacturer with obviously extensive automated production lines. What experience has it had itself with supply chain disruptions, and how has it perhaps been able to adapt in those situations?
Yeah, so indeed, Emerson has been impacted by some of the supply chain disruptions. Well, maybe I'll take an example in my own business units, where one of our flagship products has been impacted by the electronic components crisis. And we've seen lead time for this product increase from 2 weeks to 15 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So how did we adapt, right? So,
yeah.
Well, as soon as we got the components, you know, we had to boost our production capacity. And we had to work, you know, to add shifts. We had to work over the weekend. But you can do that when you have a automated manufacturing line. What we also did was looking at our own internal lead time and see how we can also improve there. So we've strengthened lean manufacturing. We've also insourced some of the you know, components that we needed, and you know, we did that cost effectively through having a fully automated manufacturing line. And we also looked at production planning and how we could automate it. So all in all, I would say, actually automation has helped a lot, being able to handle this response to the crisis. and
Like crunching overtime,
exactly.
overtime periods.
So we went from the 15 weeks that I just described down to 1 week, even better than we were in the
Even
past.
better than you
So
had
yeah,
managed before.
that was an opportunity actually.
That's amazing. Sergio.
Right word, automation. We took it from the angle of technology, and actually we wanted to walk the talk. What we are proposing to our customer became our internal challenge. What does it mean? We look at the way we have been producing the flagship products that Stephanie was referring to, and we increased the digitalization of all the operation of those parts. We have a number of devices mounted on the machines on the floor level. Get these devices connected, get data from those devices, understand how the output and the flow of the production was moving along, and try to have a comparison versus the expected output and what was happening on the ground floor on the production level. Basically, through a package of devices connected together, to have enough data coming from the floor to get data-driven decision and really speed up, slow down on increased flexibility to meet the demand required by the production line that Stephanie was referring to. And was a truly good experience of really embracing what we are talking about concerning floor to cloud.
Yeah, floor to cloud, we will come to that. I mean, automation, you mentioned the keyword. How does it contribute to enhancing flexibility and agility within the whole supply chain?
So when you are able to control the production flow, and to control the production flow at the end, you need to have a real visibility of what happens. You need to control pressure, you need to control flow, you need to control the speed on-off of valves. You need to understand what is going on the level of the servo motor, so the synchronization of the axis on a single machine. And that is all about the data that we are getting from the floor, transfer to the control, I mean the industrial PCs or the PLCs on the machine, and then get all these data visualized in a way that the interface between the human being and the machine can really drive decision moving forward. Another aspect for sure is the maintenance. We don't want the maintenance on the production line.
Maintenance.
We don't want to stop or to have downtime when is the moment to really increase the output. How to maximize uptime. So you need to know which is the life cycle of the devices.
Okay.
Again, data-driven decision is the key. And with the portfolio of technologies that we have and the connectivity that we can provide among those devices, we are really able to create this type of environment.
So I guess when you're looking at what customers want to know, then it's really a question of how improvements in automated manufacturing systems can actually help address supply chain issues.
Yeah. So, manufacturers with an agile production system can actually help the supply chain here. Let's say in two ways. So one, they would be able to stay on track, right? So they would be able to adjust capacity, production capacity, in a cost-effective way as well. But they would also be prepared to fill the gap, right? So when a new customer would call and say, hey, my traditional suppliers cannot meet my need, right? Can you help? They could answer positively here. And if you think about it, it's actually an opportunity to gain new customers and eventually new business, right? So now to be able to have, to build this agility and flexibility in the manufacturing systems, you need to know where you have slack in the production capacity. And that's where the data and the insights that data can actually provide that Sergio just spoke about is critical in here.
So Sergio, maybe you can just give us some concrete examples of automation technologies or processes that have actually improved supply chain agility.
So edge devices integrated on the line is one concrete type of technology that we are embedding on our production and we are proposing to our customer as well. And that is the center of gravity or the brain of the machine, where all these information are collected together and they are processed. Because the data is something that probably is quite easy to get, but how to process, how to understand
And
what
how to interpret it.
how to interpret it then, okay? And then you have all the inefficiencies along the production line. Compressed air monitoring. You have a leakage on the machine. That is causing you a disruption because a part can get breakdown, for example, or is getting slower in the production cycle, not performing as expected. Am I able to predict what is going on? And then we have specific devices or system or solution, like the compressed air monitoring is one example, that can really help to work the talk there and to go down to the floor level, to the shop floor level, have an understanding. Alternative is send out people, but you need to have in the production people trained enough people, and all along all the production shift that we are requiring. It's not better to have all this data available for the operator of the single production line or the senior leader of that specific site to have a look on their iPad or on their own PC on the dashboard to see exactly what's going on. That is the piece of advantage and the value added we are providing to ourselves and to our customers.
Okay, so that all sounds really straightforward, but of course every one of your customers is so individual and their own challenges, supply chain challenges are also going to be so individual. So Stephanie, perhaps in your opinion, could you tell us what are the most important challenges that companies need to address when they're integrating an automation into their supply chain operations? What should they consider when they want to start to actually optimize their results?
Sure. So when companies want to start integrating more operations in their production system, they should embrace digital transformation and also look at the floor-to-cloud approach that we are offering. And I would say if there's one advice that I would give, it's to make sure you start small and scale up then.
So it is something that can really be done in pieces, in stages.
Yeah, and you would want to start with the few critical areas of opportunities that you're seeing, and start there and then scale. That would be the advice I would give.
Okay, and Sergio, you probably have something to add to that. I mean,
Goals are key. Goals are key.
Goals.
KPIs.
Okay.
You need to set up proper KPIs to understand what's going on. As an example, downtime. Can you set up a specific percentage or how many downtime you are having in a specific range of time, or scrapping of parts due to quality? Also there assign numbers, percentages, or waste of compressed air. Waste of compressed air means waste of energy, means more CO2 footprint generated. Everything can be quantified. So having goals clear to be measured, that is helping to scale up, start small and scale up.
And are any final comments? I mean, Floor to Cloud is something we'll be talking about obviously at the booth all this week, and people can come in and speak to you and all of your fellow experts. Any other comments that you want to make before we close this panel?
I guess supply chain challenges are probably be around for some time still.
Indeed.
And so, as we've seen, right, enhancing agility and flexibility in manufacturing systems is very important. And yeah, our floor-to-cloud approach, as well as digital transformation, can definitely help unlock, the opportunities we have there.
It's interesting what Stephanie said about these supply chain disruptions are going to be around for a while. Based on all of the data that you've been evaluating, what can you say about this? I mean, are we going to be continually experiencing these kinds of black swan events?
That's for sure. I totally agree with Stephanie. This disruption will stay there for a long time in many different type of components. As you said in the introduction, geopolitical tension are not helping on that. What we can do is important, and we can help our customer to face those challenges, to increase the level of technology embedded on their production lines, whatever they are, end user customer or OEMs. And we have been experiences with success what we are talking about.
Yeah, well, it's been great to hear about it here, and we'll be talking more about Florida Cloud, you and I, but I'd like to thank both of you for enlightening us on how Emerson's advanced automation systems can help customers to embrace digital transformation, as you've mentioned, and also, of course, better navigate all of these disruptive events. So thanks very much, Stéphanie de Boissieu and Sergio Caligara. Thank you so much that you joined me here. And before we bring this panel to a close, I'd like to say a special thanks to our audience for your interest and attention. And for further details on how to make Emerson solutions work for you, feel free to visit the website at emerson.com and reach out to the many experts there who are obviously prepared to answer all of your questions and prepared to offer tailor-made solutions for your specific supply chain challenges. And that is all for this time. So until we meet again here at the booth, all the best from us, and bye-bye.